My name is Margaret Elaine Dawson, and for 48 years, I was a wife before I ever remembered to be myself. My husband, Henry, was a good man, loyal, hardworking, and quiet, when he died. I thought my pain would come from missing him. I didn't realize the real pain would come from those who shared his blood. The day after the funeral, my daughter-in-law Cheryl offered to help organize the papers. She smiled politely, that fake smile people wear when they're planning something. "Don't you worry, Mom," she said, "I'll take care of everything. You just rest." But when I asked about Henry's will, her tone changed. "Oh, I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere. You know how men are with documents." That was 2 weeks before I realized the truth. My husband's will hadn't vanished. It had been hidden. Henry wasn't careless. He was meticulous. He kept every receipt, every note, every tax form. He even labeled the sugar jar. And before he passed, he told me, "Don't worry, Maggie. Everything's in the top drawer of the roll-top desk." When I went to look, the drawer was empty, not misplaced, empty. I asked Cheryl again. She shrugged. "Maybe the lawyers got it." I called Mr. Harlan, our attorney. "No, Mrs. Dawson," he said. "Henry never filed a copy with me. He said he kept it safe at home." That's when my heart sank, because Cheryl and my son Evan had been the only ones with keys to the house while I was at the hospital. I didn't want to believe my own children could betray me, but denial doesn't erase fingerprints. So I waited and I watched. Cheryl began visiting less often, but when she did, she'd glance at the desk like it still held something. And one night, when they thought I was asleep, I heard them whispering on the porch. Evan said, "She's old, Cheryl. She won't fight us, just sell the place when it's in our name." And Cheryl replied, "Good. Then we'll start new without her holding us back." I sat in the dark, gripping my wedding ring. That night, I cried harder than I did at Henry's funeral. Because grief hurts, but betrayal feels like it rewrites your story without asking. The next morning, I called my oldest friend Ruth, who'd known Henry since we were teenagers. She said, "You find that will, Maggie. Henry was too proud to die unprepared." So I started searching. Every book, every box, every folded napkin. Days turned to weeks, until one evening, I was dusting the bookshelf, and an envelope slid from behind an old photo frame. The handwriting stopped my breath. It was Henry's. The envelope read, "To be opened by my wife, Margaret Dawson." Inside was the will, and a note. "Maggie, if you're reading this, I've gone home to God. I know our family loves you. But I also know greed is a whisperer. If they try to change this, trust the law, not their smiles. Everything is yours until you say otherwise. Love, Henry." I held that letter like it was oxygen. Then I went to the lawyer the next morning and filed it immediately. Mr. Harlan looked at me and said, "Mrs. Dawson, this will override anything they might have forged." Forged. He said it so casually, as if it was a possibility baked into grief. 2 days later, I invited Cheryl and Evan over for dinner. She brought wine. He brought his fake sympathy. We ate quietly. Then I said, "There's something I want to show you." I placed the envelope on the table. Cheryl froze mid-sip. Evan said, "What's that?" "Your father's handwriting," I said softly. "The one you couldn't seem to find." The room went still. Her hand shook. He turned pale. They tried to talk over each other, but I lifted my hand. "Don't bother," I said. "Mr. Harlan's already filed it with the court." Cheryl's voice cracked. "You don't understand, Mom." "No," I interrupted. "I understand perfectly. You thought I was too broken to read fine print." She slammed the glass down and stormed out. Evan followed, silent, ashamed. I didn't stop them. Because sometimes, silence is the only punishment that fits. Weeks later, a letter arrived from their lawyer, a desperate attempt to renegotiate. But the court ruled in my favor. Everything Henry left me remained untouched, and for the first time, I felt free, not rich, but seen. Then I did something Henry would have admired. I rewrote my own will, and at the top I wrote, "This time, the pen belongs to me." Half my estate went to a scholarship fund in Henry's name, the rest, only 2 family members who had never asked me for a penny. And as for Evan and Cheryl, they received a single dollar. Exactly the worth of their loyalty. When I told Ruth, she laughed through tears. "You always had a quiet streak of steel, Maggie. Henry taught me," I said. If people hide what's yours, make something new they can't touch, so to whoever's listening. If someone ever hides your truth, remember this: you don't need permission to reclaim it. Sometimes the best revenge is writing your own ending with the pen they thought they took from you.